Start. So welcome everyone to the Trinidad and Tobago Photographic Society's Winners Night. So this is something that we do after every competition, where we give the winners a chance to share with the rest of the community about how they made the images, just really anything about their winning images, how they made them, what was the inspiration for them, what influences their photography work. Really just as a platform for them to share some of what they're doing and also to educate and share some knowledge with everyone else about the images that were created. So tonight we have six of the winners have volunteered to chat with us. And we have, they'll be presenting 10, 6, 7, 8 images uh, altogether. So welcome everyone, and thank you for those who volunteered to chat with us. I know it's never easy thing to be on camera and talking about yourself. I think most photographers prefer to be behind the camera. So uh, without me, on that note, let me come off of the spotlight. And what we'll do, we'll just kind of go in random order. I didn't really prepare any specific order of presenters, but I mean, I'm sure everybody is interested in what they're going to say. So let's start with Nathan. Are you up for that? Hi,
Yeah,
Nathan.
sure.
All right,
Yeah.
super. Hi, Nathan.
Should I put on my camera or?
Yeah, you could you could go on and turn on your camera, and you want to share your screen with us or something, and or you want me to
Yes.
pull up your images? I could do that.
Uh, I
Yeah.
thought you would do it, so
Okay.
I'll.
Sure.
Yeah.
No problem. Let me see. Let me get back into share screen. Hold on. Where's my desktop? Oh, where's my desktop? Hold on. All right. You all seen that? See my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nathan,
Yep.
which one you want to start? Which one you want to chat about?
Well, can I do all three or just the two previously
I
stated?
think because we don't have a very full slate, yeah, if you keep the discussions nice and tight, let's try to go for all three.
Okay,
Which one you want to start with?
let's start with beautiful connection.
All right. All right. Take it away, Nathan.
So good night, everyone. When I took this picture, I was actually up Toku with my grandfather. We were having a little, we was going up the line to help fix our beach house that got destroyed by the tropical storm a couple of years back. So we went down by the beach, and I had my camera because I wanted to go and take pictures at the beach because I wanted to get some good shots. And I kept walking, and then I found this old tire with no spiders in it because I hate spiders. So I was like, this would be an excellent shot. I saw that the web was abandoned, and I was trying to get as much of the lines in focus as possible. I was using my prime lens, my 18 to 55 millimeter Canon. That's the only lens I really have. So I was using that. I was just trying to make sure that I got as much lines in focus as possible. And that I had to crop the entire image for it to be properly, well, for the as much of the webs to be in focus after in post-production in Lightroom. Then I was going through some of the presets and I wanted one that was warm and cool. So when I did both, I did two copies of that image actually. One was in a
Hold a
warmer.
second, Nathan. Everybody's seeing the image. I'm seeing
No,
some
I'm
people.
not, but I didn't want to
No.
interrupt.
Oh,
I'm seeing a white screen with a small, like your computer screen.
okay, that's weird.
I'll send you a screenshot.
No, it's okay. Let me stop sharing. Let me try it again. Sorry about that, folks.
Chad, do you have two screens up?
I don't know. No, what do you mean?
Like an extended monitor?
No, I don't.
No, okay.
What you'll see now? Anything?
Same
is
white
it
screen
fun?
with 4 images and a menu to the left.
Okay.
Yeah, Windows Explorer looks like.
Okay, so let me try something. Yes, close that.
If you open it, does it open on your screen?
How about that?
Yes.
There we go.
Yes,
right.
all right then. Woohoo!
Now we're seeing the magic.
We were not defeated by technology. All right, back to you, Nathan. Sorry about that.
Just one thing real quick. If you could just move the cursor, that would be super. Or is it just me that's seeing a cursor on the image?
Okay, my cursor is not on the image anymore.
Okay, well, it's just me. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So that was about it. I just cropped it in so I can get as much of the web as possible, and then that was the image.
All right.
And I
What
got the name
what
from,
time of day was that, Nathan, when you took this
it
shot?
was around 3 o'clock in the evening, somewhere around that time.
Okay. Interesting. This image, one of the judges, I think, had picked this as one of their judges' picks. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, great image. I mean, I remember the first time I saw it, it was, at first you're not sure what you're looking at, and then when you see it, then you kind of make it out. It's interesting. I never figured out what this was. So it was a tire. All right. Okay. So let's see the other image. Hold on. All right, we good there, people?
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, Nathan.
So this image, I was trying to go for a Thor-like effect. So I kept referencing pictures of Thor that I searched up on Google. And when I took it, when I finished the image, it looked a little, I got a more Percy Jackson type feel than Thor, but it was still good. So what I
Oh, it
did
does
was,
you?
yeah.
All right.
So in order to take the picture, I set up at my tripod and my camera and had it on shutter. It automatic shutter for 5 pictures, and I kept jumping up in the air with my arms like that until it caught me at a good enough position. So that on a high shutter speed, and it just kept firing off until I found the perfect picture. And then I loaded it up in the Photoshop, and I kept looking for good enough backgrounds to have the picture, but I couldn't find any that I was getting without any watermarks. So, and I realized that I had pictures of the sky and I had pictures of the ocean that I took on a field trip to Nelson Island with my school. So when we went, I added that picture. I layered on top of it a picture of the sky that I took, and then I got images of lightning. Erased the background properly because the screen was only doing so much. Screen exposure was only doing so much, and then I layered everything perfectly so it would line up and look like lightning was coursing through my body and around me. And the boats in the background just made it seem so much better. and last part was to add a little bit of a shadow to make it a little more realistic. The teacher in charge of my photography class said the shadow was just a little bit too dark, but at that time I didn't really, to go back and fix it was a little too much. That was the first time I tried something on this scale in Photoshop.
How long it took
But
you?
I got it that year.
How long it took you?
Took me a couple of hours, but I did it. Okay, so it took 2 days really, but the 2 days was in the span of a couple of hours. So at night I started working on it, and then I went to sleep, and next day I went and finished it.
You're doing photography in school?
Yes, I was the president at that time.
Oh, okay.
No, I wasn't the president yet. That was my term after.
Okay, that's the president of. You could share some of that.
Hillview College. I was the president of his photography club. Before that, I was the secretary of the photography club. And right now, well, after that, I was the PRO, and right now I'm still the PRO. In the
Wow,
club,
they have
we
a
do
they have a good
lot
club.
of, yes, we do a lot of stuff, including a film night where we feature a lot of, well, the students' films and other schools' films can enter as well. And for our latest film festival, I won in 2 categories. One was cinematography and the other was concept.
Well done.
Right. This image I took with my phone, which is a Samsung Galaxy S7. This was back in 2019 before I got a camera. Um, so I went up with my family to a place in Lopino that we usually go and rent, and they had a river in the back. So it was my brother's birthday the day after. So the September 1st it was, since his birthday is Independence Day. And we went in the back and we stayed in, and then I just saw the snails lying around. And I had a friend who had a great picture of snails. So I went and took up one of these snails, and I did a lot of different angles and pictures with it. Almost dropped my phone in the water a couple of times. And I then decided to take a couple of pictures with the leaf. And then I decided to add the snail on the leaf. And to get it to focus properly was the main thing. So after that, I used a mobile app, Snapseed, and I increased the vibrance and the saturation, and then decreased it a little bit, and then increased it again to make sure that I got the colors a little nostalgic and to be extremely bright and colorful as the snail goes on its journey down the river.
Very interesting. I love the point
To
of
me,
view of this image.
me,
This
it
was
almost
one of
looks
my
like it's going
favorites.
down a water slide.
Real unique perspective.
My art teacher asked me to enter this picture in some exhibits. I don't recall the name of it, and because of that, I had to get it printed, which is why it's on my wall.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Very nice.
Cool.
I love this shot. It was great.
Yeah, me too.
What category was this? Was this landscape? Was this nature or
This
animal
was
and
nature.
fauna? I'm sorry, what?
This is nature photography. Nature.
Okay.
All right, cool. Thank you, Nathan. Anybody has any questions or comments for Nathan? Hey, I'm Michelle. Just a shout out to Michelle Jostling, one of our judges from this year's competition. Glad you could join us. Do we have any
Michelle.
other judges? Sorry, let me see if I see any other judges. I don't think so. All right, cool. All right, super. Thanks a lot, Nathan. Lovely images. Okay, so let us jump on to Mr. James Solomon. Hi, James.
Hello.
Hi. So James is is a past member of the executive, and he won the Food and Still Life category with his image, Sunbeam and Friends. So let me see if I can pull that up. Friends. So this image was done with, I think, light painting. So James is gonna enlighten us with some of that. Everyone seen the image? Yeah?
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
take it away, James.
Yes.
Okay. Couple of years ago, I traveled to Wisconsin to study this type of photography. Spent a solid week learning a hell of a lot more than I thought I knew. Not just about not just about photography, but about the post-processing side of things. It was the first time. Hang on, Mariel, are you guys hearing me?
Yes, we're good.
Yes, we are.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it was the first time in preparation for the workshop, I had to learn how to use a Wacom tablet. And a Wacom, the tablet was something I wanted to get since I got into digital 15 years ago, but I just never, I never bought one until I decided to make the decision to pursue light painting. Light painting is a very complex and involved type of photography where you focus on the one shot. That shot of Sunbeam and Friends actually was done over 3 days because it frustrated the heck out of me. Tripod is kept in one spot. Of course, the subject, once you've made the arrangement and you commit to the arrangement, there can't be any shifting of the image at all. And over the 3 days, 3 nights, I created 226 images, out of which I built the image using 32 layers. Some of you who may have looked at my my Facebook page or Instagram, you would see there's a video, a couple of videos that show what the process of light painting involves. Each element, each part of the image is brought in, painted in using the Wacom pen, and then blended together to create the final image. One thing I have to say though, with all the frustrations that I had with the image, I did not honestly think it would have made it into the final. So when when it won, it came as a big surprise to me, which is something that competition is about. Sometimes you doubt yourself, not knowing how, doubt the image that you may have submitted, not knowing how it might have been received. I had higher hopes for Mask in the Mirror or Rosie the motorbike than I did for Sunbeam and Friends. And Sunbeam and Friends actually was started as a project. A friend of mine who I was, oh, somebody was just trying to call me. It started as a friend of mine whose business, she has a baking business, and I had done her portraits, and she wanted to have some images with baking equipment, and and her baked goods. She does gluten-free and lactose-free goodies and desserts. And I pulled my mix master. It was something I purchased some years ago because I too love baking. And when I was on the ships, I saw this 25th anniversary. No, it was the 75th anniversary of Sunbeam. It was similar to the one that my mother owned, and I learned to bake on. And I thought, hey, you know, I need to get this. And my friend still hadn't shown up. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna toss this on the table, light paint the heck out of it, and then show it to her. I hope that come into the studio. Hope that she would come into the studio and we can have her session with her baked goods. Well, that was when was the September, July, August, I think it was. Well, I still have some of her goods in my freezer, waiting for her to show up with the other stuff. Because apparently, as she bakes it, it's either her husband or her children eat it out, or it just sells, and she just has nothing to come to the studio with.
So you got this image out of the client, and the client still hasn't reached.
Yeah,
to take their portraits.
I struggled with this image actually was the lead up to me getting the motorbike into the studio, because it was a bit of practice. And with all the reflective surfaces and the whites and the colors and so on, I had to do something that would have been a bit more challenging. And yeah, it challenged the heck out of me because, like I said, 3 days. Day one, I shot 189 images. Day two, 33 images. And then on the last day, one more element that I realized that was still missing, and I forget which one it is, so don't ask me. I shot 4 images. Now, the thing about light painting, if I were to start from scratch and go back with all the original images and try to rebuild this image from scratch, it would come out totally different. The mood you're in, how your approach will change. The vision will change, especially as it's been so long since I made the collection of images, that when some elements will go in, something else I might add or subtract, and it'll be a totally different look or feel to the image.
Very cool.
And
very cool.
That's the beauty of it. It pushes the boundaries of what you can do in photography.
Good. Thank you, James. We have one question about the image in the chat room. Somebody was asking, Simone Brown was asking about how many lights did you use? Was it one light you used to do the painting, or did you do multiple lights?
If you were to count it as
Sorry,
how
as
many lights,
you're chatting, I'm just gonna queue up the next person. Yeah. Go ahead.
right? If you count as how many lights, you would have to say 32 lights, because 32 layers were used to create the image. However, light painting is done with constant light, video lights. I have something called like a light wand, a lightsaber, modified flashlights, and a couple special lights, but it's mainly flashlights that you use, and you pass the light over the subject, and then even though the light is seen by the camera, what you are doing is looking at grabbing that little piece that you expose to build your image. So in the parlance, we call it building the image as opposed to photographing the subject. And so I use 32 images in this one. I've had other images where I've worked with 125 images to build the one photograph at the end of the period. So it's pretty involved, pretty new, and just I think maybe about 1,000 photographers worldwide actually are involved in this type of photography.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
Not many of us out there.
Thanks a lot, James, for sharing that. So I'm sure people will be chatting with you about light painting.
Yeah, people, feel free to contact me to ask questions. I'm always, as you know, always happy to share.
Great, great. All right. I see we have one of our other judges, so let me just welcome Mr. Mark Lindsay to the session. Hi, Mark. How are you going? Okay, so
I'm good.
Good. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. Okay, so we're on to our next photographer. This is the work of Mariela Bruzal. A lot of you all know Mariela from our meetings, and she's always around and one of the people who is always keen on doing stuff with the society. So Mariela won the category for street and documentary, and so this is her image here. So take it away, Mariela. Hey, Mariela, you have mic on? I think you might need to turn on your mic.
Yes, now.
Yes. Hi, yes.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, I sent six photos to the contest, and this photo that won that category was the photo that I wasn't expecting to win, and for me, it was also a big, huge surprise. The story behind that photo, I was, those days I didn't have my car, and on my way to work, I work as a graphic designer during the day, and I was walking through town to go to the office. So every day I was observing and taking photos, mostly with myself because it's not safe and I'm going to work, so I'm not with the camera, especially without the car. So I was walking in Charlotte Street, but before the entrance of Chinatown, and I was having this conversation with a friend on the phone. And I see this guy that I spotted him before, but I couldn't take a photo. And when I am passing, I just see him like that, how you see it in the photo. And I just put my friend she was talking to me about something important. I have to put her on speakerphone, prepare the phone and take the photo because I couldn't miss that. And that is how that photo was taken. That photo, I immediately sent to the newspaper because I found it was a kind of interesting photo, and they published it immediately, like the day after. And well, I sent it because although that was a photo taken with a phone, it got a lot of good feedback. Because sometimes when I'm choosing or when we choose photos, we get so attached to some photos, and sometimes it is hard to know what can make it into the contest because you don't know what the judges are looking for. And probably that was the photo that I thought that wasn't going to make anything. I had other photo that I thought that was going to be probably to make the shortlisting, and even didn't make the shortlisting. So that's the story behind, very simple.
Thanks, Mariela. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you really don't know how people will react to the images, you know. I mean, it goes through
Well,
the phases of the judging, and then, I mean, obviously it spoke to the shortlisting process, and then the judges ultimately picked it as the winner for this category. So, I mean, that's the thing
yeah.
about art and creativity, right? You really
Well,
don't know
mhm.
sometimes. I mean, there are rules you follow, and but it's one of those questions I don't think that there's a definitive answer to, you know, what will win.
Yeah, I wanted to say also that being in this category, that I like it very much. Street photography is very unexpected. You just have to work spontaneously with the elements that comes to you while you are observing, or while you are composing, or while you are walking. How I was walking when I took that photo. It's like, to me, if I have to do a photo and I have to explain people to pose for me, it's very hard to me, because I find my strongest part, it's spontaneous, candid, street photography. I like very much street photography. I like the interaction with people. I like the visual language, because sometimes that guy, I couldn't talk to him and ask permission. It just happened that I passed and I took the photo, and he didn't realize that I took it. Some people, you make eye contact. Sometimes you ask people for the photo. It depends. You don't have, like, it's nothing planning in street photography.
Yeah, you have to be there and be reactive to it.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
super.
that's it.
Thanks a lot, Mariela. Anybody has any questions or comments for Mariela?
No, I just think it's a stunning image.
I thank you.
Truly, truly stunning. I mean, I love street photography too, but I'm I'm reluctant to go, honestly, anywhere remotely near town and things like that. Just like you said, safety is an issue, and my history makes me want to keep away from places like that. So I'm glad that you were brave enough, or you just had to go down that street to see that shot, because if you hadn't, we wouldn't have seen it. And I think it's truly, truly an amazing image.
Thank you.
Super. Thanks a lot, Mariela. Thanks for sharing.
No
Okay,
problem.
so we are on to our next image.
Sorry, Chad, sorry,
Yes,
don't mean to
hi.
cut you.
Sure.
Ray had a question about a release, if you needed a release to
Sure,
go
go ahead.
public with a shot like that. It's in a chat.
Yeah, Mariela, that's for you.
Yes. Well, sometimes, like, when I'm not 100% experienced in that subject. That person, I couldn't contact that person because I don't know if the person was going to cost me. I don't know, because it was looking like a background. Like, for example, I had another image that I contacted the person and I said, well, I explained that the photo went to a contest, and if we have any problems, and the person, no, I don't have any problems. But in that case, if that person, he didn't give me a permission. It was a photo that I took, and the photo went to the contest, and it happened that won that category. And I even asked myself, because I am not, I don't have like 100 experience in that, because I have been I took the photo and it was published in the Guardian. So it's a different, when it's published in the newspaper, it's different. They have permission for any image on the streets.
Yeah, for editorial, for like news and stuff, I think you don't need to, I mean, once it's in a public space, and
Probably it could be like my error, because I should like find out more about that. But I just didn't think about it and just submitted because as I say, I didn't think that that photo, although I like it very much, and it had that story behind it. I just sent it as to send something that street photography I thought was interesting.
Okay, thank you, Mariella. So let's go on to The Quest
Okay.
by our photographer, Navita. So Navita, this image was actually the image that won the Digital People Choice Award. So where's my
What I wanted to do was tell a story
sure.
about someone embarking on an adventure or quest to find treasure. And what really inspired me was the whole lockdown for COVID, not being able to leave the house or borders being closed and not being able to travel. So I wanted to do some photo depicting some kind of travel or adventure, right? So what I did, I put certain elements to depict this journey in photo, such as an atlas in which the jewelry was on, seashells to indicate travel across the ocean. At the left-hand side, you'd see a lantern, which basically lights the way. But in the end of the story, this person discovers or realizes that time was the greatest treasure of all. So I use a watch to depict that and a magnifying glass to emphasize it. So that's about it behind the story of the photo. In terms of the technical aspects, I use an 85mm lens on my Canon camera, an aperture of 1.4, ISO 1250, a shutter speed of 1/400. And in terms of the lighting, I use a lamp on the right-hand side of the image. And that's about it.
Navita, this was this was captured one image in camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was.
Interesting.
Is that a watch or a pocket watch?
No, a regular watch.
Oh, it was just with the wristband folded back, yeah?
Yeah.
How did you get the magnifying glass to prop up like that?
I think it really propped up on the watch. At the bottom of the watch, it leaned against it there. So I got it to balance.
Cool.
Yeah.
What you can tell me the name of the second book because I've always, when I looked at the image I kept trying to see what the name was. So I realized one was the Atlas, which you know when from the name The Quest you kind of see. But I was trying to figure out what the other book was. Do you remember?
I think it was one of my textbooks.
Okay, so
textbooks.
was it something to do with travel as well, or was it just?
Oh no.
Okay.
Nothing to do with travel.
Okay, cool, very nice. Any questions, comments?
I just really like how the red is contained by the magnifying glass. I think that's what makes this super duper special. You don't see any bleed off, like the focus is super obvious what you're supposed to look at. I really, really appreciate that. It looks great.
Thank you.
And you said you shot this at 1.4?
Yeah.
Wow, that's real shallow. So yes, tap on the watch. Cool, very good. Thank you, Navita.
Thank you.
All right, so let's see. We have just a couple more people left to go. Let's go on to Mr. Zachariah.
Hi, good night.
Hi, Zach. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, let me just pull up your image there. All right, welcome.
Alright.
The floor is yours.
All right, so this is the Tobago glass frog. It's endemic to Tobago. It's an endemic subspecies. So it's found in the northern part of the island, Charlottesville side, Main Ridge. And in this image, it's on the underside of a leaf. So the picture is actually portrait. I was leaning, balancing on some rocks to get the picture. So the frog is guarding the eggs. When wasp and fly approach it, they kick it off. So this is the male, and the eggs drop into the river below. So to get this image, you have to know the species, you have to find the frog, you have to battle the weather conditions. It was raining all the time. Then you have the flash. If the light is too harsh, the image won't come out with the actual colors of the frog. And so I use a diffuser, and it was late at night, so it was worth it. And when I got the image, I was like, yeah, I want to submit this. And this image is really to showcase the biodiversity of the island and promote its conservation of the species. Yeah.
Very cool. The eggs in the background, so that those eggs would be from the same frog? I mean, this would be the same one. Okay, so all those eggs is what they would be guarding.
Yeah, so like it'll have patches going up the leaf, and the most mature ones are what was guarded the best, I would say. Yeah.
How big is this frog? Like, it's hard to get a sense of size. Like, is it tiny or
this frog is
what?
about probably about 1.5 inches for the largest. So this was with a 18-55 with a few extension tubes on it, and f20 because at that focal length, and you want to get everything in focused, and I find it comes out the sharpest at f20.
Did you use a tripod with it, or was it handheld?
Nah, handheld, and so I held my breath. So you take a deep breath and you take the image.
How long did you plan
frogs?
the shot?
Right. What's that?
How long did you plan this shot? Because it sounds like it was intentional. How long did you take in planning it?
Well, I got a picture of this frog about 2 years ago. I wasn't pleased with it. So a group that I work with, West Indian Herping, we do trips around the island to take pictures of wildlife, particularly herps, which are frogs and reptiles. So we planned this trip to get this frog and a few other species, but we didn't get it. But I was happy with this image. So we planned it a few months in advance, knowing that we'll get this frog because it's fairly easy to find, but it mostly doesn't get this position and posture. It's just lying on a leaf, but I got this charismatic posture. This was around 1 in the night, 1 a.m. in the night.
I think somebody else had another question.
I was just saying that the flash is perfectly kind of balanced. It's really well done and diffused.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no hot spot. I mean, there's a nice little catch light, if you want to
Yeah,
call
and
it that.
I barely edit anything. It takes a while for you to, each photographer with this kind of photography has its own style with the flash, I would say.
Yeah, the texture is amazing.
Detail. Very nice, Zachariah. Good work. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, and I think we're down to our last presenter for the evening, Mr. David Cogdell. So let me.
God, I had to put on my camera.
Well, you know it was coming.
I know, but you know I hate these things. So how do I put my camera on, by the way? Start video, is that what I
Start
push?
video, yeah. Which one you want me to cue up first, David?
Do discarded first, please.
Okay. All right, there you go. So David, with the, I think you won and placed third, yeah?
Yeah, this was the first place in abstract digital, and the second image we'll look at was third. but the one that came in third is actually my favorite, which is why I want to end on that one.
Super. All right. All yours.
So if you see me looking over to the left, I made some notes because public speaking and I are not friends. So yeah, this one was actually a redo of one of the original photos I entered into the competition 3 competitions ago, I think. And it got nowhere, and I know why. My composition was a big old hot mess. My over-processing, I mean, I processed it to within an inch of its life. But I kept it in the back of my head because I knew I wanted to address it again. And then this last year gone, the year of hell for most of us, I was thinking about cancel culture. You know, there were some misplaced comments, especially with the Black Lives Matter arena. And I was thinking how easy it is now that you can just do one click and someone can be gone. You know, whether it's a serious issue like Black Lives Matter, or if it's something simple like, oh, like a dating app. He doesn't like cabbage, she doesn't like, you know, carnival or whatever, swipe left, swipe right, whatever it is. So that's kind of where the evolution of this picture came from. The setup is literally my bedroom. That's an old piece of sheet. That's the floor in my bedroom. I have the trunk because I like old school stuff. And I luckily have a friend who's tiny enough that he can fit in it. So that's really what this is about. Literally, it's almost like this is an old school hope chest, and this fellow is just tossed aside.
Well, first thing, I mean, I love how you always just stick stuff in your bedroom or your bathroom or whatever, and it looks so.
Literally, it's a bathroom, it's a bedroom, it's whatever my house is.
I mean, that's admirable, you know. I mean, you know, a lot of times we tell ourselves, oh, you need to do this, and you create all these reasons why you can't. And I mean,
oh, don't get me wrong. I mean, squad goals, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, it's good that a lot of your stuff that you show us, or you've shared with us over the years, you know, is always just, you know, you have an idea and you're gonna get it done wherever.
Yeah, it's by hook or by crook.
As this was a redo, what was the concept for the first version of it?
The first one, it was
kind of
more,
idea, or?
It's slightly similar. It was more like hiding away, like scared to come out of the trunk.
Okay.
More of like, you know, a fear and embarrassment. That it was that kind of vibe.
Right.
Very secretive. You know, and then when I was thinking, like I said, about the cancel culture vibe that especially took hold when we were forced to communicate online last year, it kind of evolved into this image here. And it actually almost didn't make my own cut because, you know, I pooled my friends and family and I gave them like 50 images or whatever. I'm like, which ones? And only a couple of people picked this. But like Mariella was saying, when you feel attached to something, you question whether or not it's the one to enter or if it will do well, etc. And this was one that my gut told me I needed to enter. And I'll be honest, like I said, I thought my third picture was better. So when that came in third, I'm like, well, that's where I've reached. I'm happy, cool. And then this placed first. And well, I mean, plain talk, almost shit myself.
Cool. Very good. Any questions for David while I queue up the other image?
Yes, what made you think of the background, the color of the background?
That boiled down to more or less necessity. I think this is actually a piece of curtain rather than cloth as I thought it was before. So it's literally just what I had around. That's essentially how I operate. It's whatever I've got around and however willing the people I have around me are to do things. That's it. All of my shots are basically necessity. It's whatever will get it done.
I have one more question about it. How long did it take to get the right shot?
I would say for this particular series, I took I would say about 40 pictures, more or less, but I also did different arrangements. So I had it where it was on its end and he was crouched in it. So you were just sort of seeing like a profile shot of his face coming out of it. So I would say somewhere between 40 and 50 for about maybe 5 or 6 different specific shots.
Cool. It looks great.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, cool. Sorry, let me just cue that one back up again. All right, and this is Facets. So this is the one that came in third, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. This one, oh God, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's probably my favorite picture I've taken, maybe except for the Mexican that was in last year's competition. I really, really resonate with this one. I think because I'm an artist and a creative at heart, that I really, really enjoyed this one. This one was based on the Fauvist style of painting, like Henri Matisse, that sort of where you're painting the facets and you're using the light as color. So the inspiration for this is that in art class 4 centuries ago, we were given the task of painting each other in this style. And I have a painting that I still have it framed and everything, of a classmate painted where all the facets are a different color that I saw reflected by the particles of light. And to me, art and photography, they come from the same house. Like photography, typically, it paints what you see, whereas art, it paints what could be. And I wanted to kind of fuse the two together. And this is what I came up with. I mean, that's actually acrylic paint. Like my friend Leslie does makeup and is an artist and all that. And this poor boy had to sit through, I think it was 2 hours of painting his face with acrylics. Because, I mean, makeup's expensive and what am I gonna do with it? You know, so I was really pleased with how this came out. And the fact that it was actual paint, you're seeing some of the texture and the brush strokes, you know? So that's really where it came from. I just wanted to see if you could take painting in the traditional sense, like with art as a traditional thing, and combine it with photography and see what happens.
Very good. The is very different from your work with the other portraits that you submitted last year. I mean,
Well, I just went through a phase this last year gone. I also did one where I made someone look like Frida Kahlo. I also did the same fella, made him look like he was pop art. But then I wanted to try this one. That was sort of the lead up to this. And this one came out the best in my eyes. So that's why this one was entered. You know, but I like how, like, you could almost squint and he still looks lifelike, like it's normal. You know, like how Laura Ferreira does amazing stuff with gels. It's almost like it's localized gels, and that to me is kind of the point of Fauvism. It's isolating the small pieces that make up the entire whole to form the picture. Because if you take each individual piece, it's nothing. But then when you assemble it together, suddenly you have a complete image. It's like a puzzle.
Yeah. And the name Facets.
Yeah, well, it just made sense. I mean, I wrote, God, I must have written a page for each of the descriptions. And then when we were entering it, we were only given sort of 36 characters or something.
Yeah,
like,
so that was definitely an oversight on our part. And then by the time it was brought to our attention, we had entries in, and you know, it would
but
have
you
been
see, I
unfair
think that
to.
works because if you can't say it in a few words, I mean, you shouldn't need words in general, really, except for maybe a little bit of context. So
The super
in essence,
elevator
I think
pitch.
it forced us to really narrow down on the words that mattered, and I think that was no bad thing ultimately.
We'll give you a few more characters this next year or this year, please, God. All right, super. Well, I think that is the presentation of our winners night. So anybody has any questions for any of our presenters that you'd like to chat? We have a couple more minutes, 4 or 5 more minutes. Before we get into that, let me just thank our 2 judges who are in the house, Michelle and Mark. Yeah. And all our people who bravely accepted our challenge to come and speak about your art. It's never easy, but it's really a rewarding thing, I think, for the people listening. And I think it's also important as creatives to be able to talk about your work and to share your work with others. So thank you to the brave souls who came into the spotlight today.